Welcome to Not So Silent, episode 13. It's September 24th. We're still in 2020, unfortunately. We'll say what you can't. We think we're right, but I wouldn't bet on it. Wow, we got one more week here in September to reach our goal. Please, please, please do me the favor. Subscribe, share, get it out there. We are growing and growing. Remember, the goal was 10 times growth, and we are at 7 times right now. So keep pushing it out to as many people. Keep listening, and please give us feedback. Comment on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up or whatever. Like it, hate it. I don't care. Just give us some sort of feedback. We'd love that. So, all right. If you subscribe, I promise, if you subscribe, I will make sure that I hold Sean down and shave his eyebrows. I promise I will do that if you subscribe. And my promises are empty like all politicians.
Yes, they are.
All right. So let me bring in, that's Chris coming to you from St. Louis. On today's show, we're going to talk about some school and COVID updates because it is starting to get a little bit out of control. Let's see. We'll have a little bit on the SCOTUS updates, some prognostication station. We're going to actually, it's going to be a hefty section. We're going to go back. We got a couple of new segments today too. Some new fun segments from Chris. We'll do some sports updates, serious or satire, and the top 5 things we should be protesting right now. Top 5 things we should be protesting right now. Today's show is brought to you by 6 Kids Construction. 6 Kids Construction specializes in interior and exterior painting and remodeling. So please look up 6kidsconstruction.com if you're in the St. Louis area for a free estimate. All right, on to our COVID updates. So we got
starting to get crazy. What do you mean starting to get crazy? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right, yes, I guess COVID has been crazy. Do you know how many days this has been going on, by the way?
I don't know if I care anymore. I just don't. I'm so tired of talking about COVID. It's so boring.
Chris, 197 days this has been going on. And that dates us back to March 11th when this thing got real. 197 days. It's been more than 6 months.
It's like COVID is filibustering us right now.
So the biggest news, and this is the surprise, of course, I saw it on Fox News, but nowhere else. And it wasn't even a lot on Fox News because, well, it doesn't sell clicks like Race Wars does. But holy cow, did you see the Brown University study that came out? Came out. Yo, you didn't? All right. So Brown University came out.
No. I did. This is the Odell Beckham thing, right?
Odell Beckham.
The Brown study?
No. Odell. No. Now you totally made me.
He likes to be pooped on if you didn't get that.
Oh boy, I was on a roll there too.
Where you though? I thought I was kidding you.
I keep thinking,
together, man.
I keep thinking Odell Beckham. All right, so Brown University. Brown University came out and studied the first 2 weeks of schools opening, and what they found was basically next to no transmission of COVID in schools. Shocker, right? Hey, I'm going to add Sean to the screen. He's decided he wants to join us.
But that's going so well.
Okay. Yeah, I know. We were doing well. So, but right now, the Brown University just came out with the COVID update or their update from the first 2 weeks of school and found less than 0.5% transmission for the schools that were in session, at least partially in person or in person, and which I thought was crazy. So why aren't the kids in school?
Is this segment things that we already know and have been talking about forever, but if you're a Democrat, you don't believe them? Is that just too long of a segment title? Doesn't fit on the screen? Because, I mean, we've been over this, like teachers unions, politics, people in power, whatever hurts Trump, blah, 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 blah. Who cares about the kids? You know, blah, blah, blah.
So I thought more interesting than the Brown study, though, was, you know how, and I asked this to Sean. I said, Sean, you know, you're the moderate who sits on the fence with everything. I said, Sean, which party, by and large, do you feel is against the schools opening? They're the ones screaming the fear. Which party, the right or the left? Sean?
Yeah, it's definitely the left.
All right, so it's the Democrats, right? And that doesn't mean that they're right or wrong. We think they're wrong. Well,
yeah. No, we think they're wrong. And doesn't mean we're right, but that's
right. So I guess that was me being silent. All right, so they're definitely wrong. So it's the left that says it, but which party also says that science is real?
And science is God. Well, this is rhetorical. Go on, continue.
Okay, so that's the left as well, and yet they don't seem to be listening to the science article that just came out in Science Magazine, which is the, preeminent magazine when it comes to science. The last paragraph very specifically states, here's the last sentence in the whole thing.
Taylor, there are magazines still?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there are. Yeah, so I don't think they print them anymore. But it says pandemic mitigation measures that affect children's well-being should only happen if evidence exists that they help, because there is plenty of evidence that they do harm. That was in Science Magazine, basically saying, put the kids in school. Put the kids in school. And yet it's just slow, like, hey, October 13th, we're going to allow your kids in for 2 days a week, and they're going to have PVC plastic in between all of the desks and everything else. And yet we're seeing all these different states that opened up with schools, nothing. This is crazy to me. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Again, we are moving to Nashville. Really, the number one reason we're doing it is to get our kids in school, sitting at a school with other children and a teacher teaching to them. Not mom and dad overseeing them watching an iPad while they, aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. As my son plays with his lizard. You get that? He has a chameleon. He has a chameleon.
Okay. It does change colors when you... If it goes purple, call the doctor.
So, again, I don't get why this isn't the number one news story. This is Brown University, Science Magazine. Everyone's pumping it. And yet I go to CNN.com. They don't talk about it. No one's talking about it because, again, it doesn't get the same clickbait that race wars does and protesting does. Well, so,
yeah, and I don't care. And I talked to a number of people about this because I'm like, and do you follow this? Why don't you do anything? Most people say, because I have an effing job, I have to work and put food on the table. We just don't have time to care about this anymore. It's just so... It's like watching Sean produce. It's that boring and ineffective.
This is true. All right. How about did you see the news on Joe Rogan? Anyone check out Joe Rogan?
A little bit about his misspeaking about something that he didn't have evidence for, but actually ended up being inadvertently true, but he still apologized for it. That thing?
I don't think it was inadvertently true, but
I think it ended up being true, but initially it wasn't when he cited the article that he had cited. So, or something of that nature.
No,
right?
He came out and said that the crazy people in Oregon started the fires. Protesters started the fires. It started one of the wildfires in Oregon, and that was. I don't think that's accurate. Sean, libertarian, you want to back this one up?
I thought he was in hot water for being transphobic.
Oh, okay. So Sean's going to get us into the bigger topic here. My bigger topic, and Sean and Chris, I think this is really important because when Spotify comes to us and offers us $90 million a year, which we're in talks with Spotify right now for exclusivity. Those talks might last for 3 or 4 years, but we are in talks with, when I say talks, I sent them an email letting them know we would take $90 million for exclusivity. But he took the exclusivity deal from Spotify and everyone thought, whoa, look at how much money he made. But now Spotify employees are revolting and they're furious about having him on their platform. And according to the CEO, he's had to have at least 10 meetings to talk about this. And some of it does stem from some transphobic conversations that are podcasts he has had in the past.
I don't think there's anything they can do about it. My understanding is the way he's filled out his contract, it is what it is. They can stop broadcasting him, but they still have to pay him. But that's kind of what they signed up for. And I say roll with it.
I am just shocked that these employees think that they have the right to do this. Am I crazy? I could not imagine being an employee at Spotify and going in and going, like, I'm furious because one of the like 10,000 million people on Spotify, we're on Spotify. There's tons of people on Spotify. And by the way, make sure you follow us on Spotify. If you're on Spotify and now you're an employee there who gets paid by Spotify to do your job, which is coding or whatever it is, and now for some reason that you have the right to debate if the content that one podcaster said 2 years ago was okay or not.
What surprises me is the companies don't say, okay, then quit, but they keep bowing down to this stuff. And it's an appetite that can never be satisfied from the left. It's called freedom of speech. Deal with it. And if you don't like it, then just quit. Find another job.
I agree. Find another job. If you don't like this, find another job. Yeah. This is great. They don't work for Joe Rogan. They work for Spotify, which is just a platform that Joe Rogan is on.
Yeah.
This makes no sense to me. All right. So Joe Rogan, is he hosting the first debate? No.
Negative.
No. But the first debate, everyone get it on your calendars.
Tuesday,
we are 5 days away. September 29th, 8 p.m. So I want to know, what do you think it's going to be like? Chris, give me your take on what you think. 90 minutes when it's done, what are you going to say at the end?
So I heard that, those like old school canes where they used to rope the guy off stage when he really sucked. I heard like Democrats have this like 30-foot cane where if things really go to hell, they're just going to yank Biden off the stage. I wonder if they'll put an earpiece in him and they'll direct him to what to say to stuff, because I just can't imagine this being any kind of a fruitful debate. How long is it, by the way? Is it an hour and a half?
90 minutes split into 6 15-minute segments hosted by Chris Wallace.
I mean, based on Biden has had to answer a question or two recently, and he's kind of in a bit of a pickle. Like, he was asked about socialism and what does he have to say about that? And you got to bear in mind, he had a talk with Bernie and was like, yes, I'm going to adopt all the Bernie policies, get your camp in my camp, right? And recently what he came out and said was, socialism, I beat the socialist. Do I look like a socialist? And so that's really angering the Bernie camp. He's being forced to answer some actual questions and realizing, maybe I ran a little too left in the primary, and now that I've got to move to the center, what's going to happen to my base? So it's going to get ugly. Either he's going to move center and his base is going to be like mortified and pissed off, or he's just going to – Biden's going to Biden, man. It's going to be amazing TV, that's for sure.
Does anyone announce what the protocol is for him? Like, when he answers a question, does he get to confer with Kamala and ask what her administration will do for that policy?
She won't answer questions either. She has not taken an open session from reporters. It's been, I think, over 40 days since she's been named the VP. It's like, what are you guys afraid of? Even their own side is going, guys, it's time to start answering some questions about policy here.
Yeah,
I think they're waiting. My theory is that they're waiting to put her on the front of the ticket. I think she will be the president on the ballot, on the ticket. It'll be announced before the election that you're voting for her to be president.
That'd be a huge mistake. I
think they're waiting until the last minute because they want all of the Trump animosity directed at Sleepy Joe, and don't want to give Trump enough time to come up with his bits. I mean, because Trump's kind of a stand-up comedian at these events and his rallies, and they want him making fun of Biden as much as possible and have as little information out there about Kamala as possible. That's my theory.
It's a hot take, but you got to remember, Kamala Harris got like 1% of the vote. She dropped out of that primary before her own state even voted. People were that not excited about her. I mean, she's not that much different from Hillary Clinton. She's got a wicked cackle as a laugh. Her nervous cackle is really off-putting. That is a true Hail Mary.
By the way, I vote based on laughter and what it sounds like. So
that's why I vote Pillsbury Doughboy every time.
Hey, Sean, I think it would be a disaster. I think the second they did that, I think you would see a landslide and the turnout would be horrible from the left. Because as sad as Biden is, I think what you've seen is when they did name him, or not even name him, but like when he was going to get the nomination, it's slowly risen where people are like, I guess I'll just have to deal with this guy. But early on, people weren't excited. People aren't excited about him now. They weren't then. I think it's a hot take. And if it happens, Sean, I'll give you $1,000.
And look, in there,
I will accept that. No wager. I'll accept your Free wager. Thank you.
Look, the Democrats are doing nothing to attract independents. I'd like to at least hear what their platform is. Have some fruitful debate. What are the ideas? Again, it would be much better for the country if we had an Andrew Yang or a Tulsi Gabbard going against Trump. Somebody who's like logical, well thought out. Like Biden's going to get dismantled.
I think so. Sean, what's your take? What do you think the first debate is going to look like when you're done? What are you going to say about it?
I think it's going to be disappointing. Disappointing because there's just the amount of hype. Anything that's hyped up this much and then there's so much excitement around usually falls short of expectations. I'm not quite sure how, but I think I will get to the end and be like, oh man, they didn't really talk about anything. It didn't accomplish much. And the bombs I was excited to hear drop or the curveballs I hoped would get thrown just didn't. And it was kind of flat. That's my expectation.
So it's prognostication for you. So Sean, if we're comparing this to a holiday, you're comparing it to New Year's Eve, always fall short of expectations. Taylor,
and here's what's going to happen.
What holiday would you compare this to?
We'll tag on to this. They're going to poll afterwards. And I like to flip back and forth. I like to watch CNN and see what's going on there. And I like to watch Fox and see what's going on there. And I think we're going to find that they're both going to talk about how awesome their candidate did and how they won it and how they crushed it. And they're going to go to some Zoom room of a bunch of different diverse voters and and say, what do you think?
They're not even going to be able to defend the debate. They're even going to have to shake their heads and go, well, we've got to do something. Holiday, Taylor, what would you compare this to?
I want to say Thanksgiving and your crazy Grandpa Joe, who just runs in circles and goes all over the place and can't come up with a normal thought.
It's Christmas, hands down. I mean, the anticipation is there. You're going to wake up and you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be president after president. See what I did there for you? Gaff after gaff. It's going to be delicious. Like I don't watch full debates typically. I watch the highlights, but I'm going to watch the full thing. I want this live. I want to be a part of the action. It's going to be like Christmas.
So I've thought about it. And so Sean, you're comparing it when you talk about Super Bowls. Sean, you're comparing it to the Rams Patriots Super Bowl that ended like 14-9, and it was like the worst game ever to watch. Chris, you're talking the Patriots Falcons, where it's like just holy cow. People will talk about that comeback for years. That was crazy. That was nuts. I couldn't believe that just happened.
No. Better comparison is like when Alabama was at their peak and thought they could beat an NFL team. It's going to be like the anticipation of a college team playing an NFL team and just the complete dismantling of the college team.
Well, I don't like the Christmas pick. I think Christmas is if it was Bernie Sanders, and then you've got Santa Claus and the Grinch. That would be a great parallel, but it's not Bernie, so I don't think it's Christmas.
I think what you're going to find if they do 3 debates, I think Chris is right. I just don't know if you'll see it in the first one. I just find it hard for Biden to keep it together for 3 90-minute debates. And frankly, if we can get the 4-hour debate by Joe Rogan, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
All right. So new segment. So we got a new segment. So Chris wanted to do a new segment, and we will do what's called role model or fail model.
Okay, you guys be the judge here. So Bill Belichick at his team news conference was wearing the most tattered, disgusting sweater shirt with holes in it. Is he a role model of like wanting to be so good at your job that you can wear that to work and it doesn't matter? Or is he a fail model in representing his organization?
Fail model.
Role model.
I'm going role model. Okay. Another sports guy, Mike Ditka, came out and reinforced his previous statement about his previous statement about athletes who kneel. If it was up to me, I'd say no. If you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country. That's the way I feel. Of course, I'm old-fashioned, so I'm only going to say what I feel. We already heard Taylor.
I thought that was Ruth Bader Ginsburg that said that, and she's the role model, and he's just following her lead.
They both look similar.
Yeah, fail model.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just because you're a Packer fan.
Jimmy Kimmel, really was a champion at the Emmys, really going super woke, super sensitive, and his ratings were so bad, they were worse than the previous year where the host was nobody. Fail model over role model.
Wow, that's a good point. Fail model.
And better
Fail
ratings
model.
with no host than with Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, moving on.
All right. All right. So let's do our sports updates. So we're going to do sports updates here real quick. So I looked up the ratings, the NHL, MLB, NFL, NBA. NBA is a disaster. NBA ratings are just a disaster, epic proportions. NHL started off pretty well in the playoffs, but then quickly kind of petered out to now where it's concerning. In fact, I had forgotten they were even still playing. I think some of that's due to no one is watching ESPN anymore. So like I hadn't realized the NHL was still playing, and then all of a sudden I got an update that the two teams were facing off in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I was like, oh my gosh. So NHL has gone back to doing poorly in ratings. We've talked about the NFL ratings that are mostly bad, with a few things that are looking like they're leveling off. What do you guys think it is? What are the factors?
Here's what's interesting, right? Because, I naturally want to blame the lack of ratings on the wokeness, but hockey didn't go super woke and the ratings are down. So it's hard to say that it's pure wokeness that's dropping ratings for the NFL, baseball. Maybe it is the thing you mentioned where it's just been so long without sports. We've gotten so used to it that it's just, we've been doing other stuff. So we don't make as much fun for it.
Yeah,
The 2190
at least a 5 to 10% effect is for the families whose kids aren't in sports. I think some people watch sports when their kids are in sports to teach their kids about sports. I know we started watching soccer when our kids got into soccer, and we watch it together and try to show them what the players are doing. I don't know that that's 50% of the drop, but I think to some extent, when kids aren't in sports, they're not as interested in watching other people play sports.
I agree. I think I'm going to play. So far we've said the social justice. I think we all know that that's part of it. There's certainly, they have gone too woke, specifically the NBA, but I don't think that's all of it. I think another part, my suggestion is the 2190 rule. And this is why I didn't like that they went woke, is you had this 2190 rule, the 21 days to create a habit, 90 days to create a lifestyle. And like I said, we've had 197 days since this all began. So we've all created a lifestyle where sports just wasn't a major part of our entertainment life, and neither was going to the movies and going to a movie theater. So we kind of, to get you back, it's got to be something good. And so I think social justice didn't help. It certainly hasn't helped me, even though I'm ready to come back to the NFL. I think they're kind of over their first, second week wokeness. I'm just not used to it. I just don't care that much right now. But I agree also with Sean that I think to some extent you have, I don't know if it's to teach your kids, but when you're watching your kid play basketball, you're in the mindset of basketball game comes on and you start watching it. Also, I think the young kids, when they're playing a sport, are more into watching that sport. So I think it's all of the above. And but here's my take on it. My guess is the leagues don't care what the ratings look like this year. And I think that's why they've allowed the teams to go woke. I think they just needed some ratings, some money coming in, but none of it's going to matter when they go to renegotiate their deals with their TV deals. No one's going to care as long as the next year it goes back to normal, or at least close to normal. If it stays down next year, they will have a significant challenge on their hands. But as long as it comes back up next year, they're not going to care. And I think they all know that the wokeness won't be there next year without an election year. And I think they'll just hope that it goes back to normal, sort of like it did in 2017 after the 2016 drop in the NFL.
Another factor too is fans. I mean, if you don't have fans in the stadium,
Yeah,
you don't have 75,000 people telling everyone they know that they're going to the Chiefs game tonight or this weekend, and you don't have the tailgating, you don't have just all of the publicity around that. I think you get a lot of free marketing from all those fans going to the game, sharing photos of the game, talking about the game. They're not there.
Yeah, I think you're missing a part of that though, Sean. 75,000 fans in 16 stadiums is 1.2 million people that now are at home and likely would be watching the game, because if they're going to go to a game, that means they're a fan. Not always, but that's I think one of the arguments was you don't have bars where you can put 30 people watching a game. All 30 of them are at home. You also don't have a stadium that's holding 1 million people. They're all at home. So why didn't the ratings go up? It should have. You would think some of the logic with the ratings would go up, but actually they've come down in many cases. And so, yeah, Chris.
Well, and with restaurants and bars, I know they do this for pay-per-view, but you're charged by capacity for pay-per-view, and that's how they count viewership. So I don't know if they do the same with broadcasting games in bars. Like the cable packages are different; they cost more. So they also run those at capacity as well. So I think that's a good point you make in terms of the bars and restaurants.
Yeah, so we'll see. So, do you guys realize the MLB playoffs start next week?
Nope.
Wow.
Like, how crazy is that? I think there's going to be a lot of talk. This is a positive from COVID. I think there's going to be a lot of talk about the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball shortening up their seasons. A lot of people, I mean, Major League Baseball had a 60-game season, and I think people have enjoyed it more than the 162 games. Now, no chance the owners are going to drop it to 60. There wouldn't be money in it. But 140-game season, maybe basketball instead of 82 games drops it to 70. Something like that to keep it a little bit more entertaining. I don't think they will, but
yeah, nobody's going to do this. But I mean, there's sports where they have more than one championship. Golf has 4, right?
Yeah, but we're talking sports that take a toll on the body, so I don't think you can run like multiple.
I'm talking, let's say the NBA's 82-game season. They have a 30-game that you get a small trophy. Like it's not the big one. It's only in your conference play. Then you have a portion of the season where you only play in your division, and there's a division title. And
aren't those things that exist right now, Sean? Division championships and titles and pennants?
They all intertwine and overlap together. I'm talking separate them into different compartments, and then you play for the overall championship of the entire league.
Isn't that exactly how the playoffs work?
No,
Am I crazy?
No. Yes, you are crazy. I think what he's talking about is you take it, let's say your division, Chris, you do get a divisional championship, but it's based strictly on your record. There's no playoff for that. I think what Sean's saying is you do some sort of, maybe it's a 3-game, the top, every team in the division goes in some little tournament, and the winner, like a NCAA bracket tournament.
Yeah. I mean, they have conference basketball tournaments that you can win your conference tournament to get into the playoffs, which is March Madness.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting take on it. I don't
what
think
the Super Bowl was, right? You already had an AFL conference champ and an NFL conference champ, and those were the champs. And then they decided, well, we're going to have the 2 champs play, but nobody really cares about winning an AFC championship or an NFC championship anymore. That's not a big deal. It's not an accomplishment.
You do when you never win one.
Huh?
You do when your team never wins one.
Okay. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is kind of a big deal for
maybe
us.
the Bills fans care, but most people don't.
All right. So how about this? And Chris, you're going to be excited to talk about COVID some more. How about COVID in sports? No. Think about it. This is a good thing. Chris, don't fall asleep. Hey, wake up, Chris.
Pick me up in the next segment.
So COVID in sports is all but gone since the Marlins and Cardinals had their big fiasco. Really nothing. Any idea why? Why do you think there's like it hasn't? No one's getting COVID all of a sudden. At least in sports, I have not heard of a team having a significant COVID situation outside of early on the Marlins and Cardinals. Chris, any idea why?
I don't care because because we've already figured it out. This is not something that's that dangerous. Like in the beginning, we didn't know, but it's just not that dangerous. We're reaching herd immunity. Whatever. Most of the guys have probably had it, so they can't get it again. Like, okay, it's not a big deal. Let's move on. If you're 80, stay home. Have somebody get your groceries. Turn on Matlock, show you how to use Netflix, and see you later. We're fine.
All right. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, this is more of a segment called like Tyrod or Taylor. I was hearing about the Tyrod Taylor stuff, and I couldn't help but notice how his future is kind of like your past and vice versa. It's very, very bizarre. Tyrod Taylor was penetrated so deep by a doctor he could barely breathe. Taylor is about to be penetrated by a doctor so deep he'll hardly be able to breathe. Do you have a colonoscopy coming up?
Yeah, I think it's on Monday.
So I'm looking for more Bizarro World Tyrod / Taylor segments in the future, but very strange. It's got my head spinning.
Wonderful. Thanks for reminding me about my colonoscopy. All right. So Chris, We have another new segment. Chris, talk about the man with some creativity.
I'm like an inchworm, man. I got segments all over the place.
Chris, we're going to go with Pound Sand, new segment.
Yes, in this week's Pound Sand segment, this shout out goes out to Conrad and Kory for commenting that we have too much political speak on this. So I'd like to comment on things that annoy me about Conrad and Kory. So Conrad, I'd like to say that you should stop taking testosterone injections and doing all that trap work. It only makes your wiener look smaller than it already is. All right. And to Kory, please stop borrowing Conrad's fleshlight during COVID. That's your Pound Sand of the week segment.
There's our listener corner, and if that doesn't incentivize you guys to give us comments and feedback, I don't know what else will. All right, so on to we will do Prognostication Station. We'll go a little bit out of order. We'll do Prognostication Station first. I wanted to do a little bit of updates on our prognostication. So we have some updates. Let's see. Sean.
Yeah, somebody said that the Lakers and Celtics are going to be in the NBA Finals, and if the Celtics can somehow pull it out, that somebody will be right.
Who was that somebody?
Oh, that was me.
No, because I had the Clippers and the Rockets, or no, the Clippers and the Bucks.
Nice.
Yeah. And Chris had the Rockets and the Bucks.
Whoa.
Ouch.
All right. So we are the only podcast that will come out and say when we're wrong, but we will also make sure to tell you when we're right. I did take the under on Major League Baseball not having a 45-game winner. Chris, you took a push. You, with the bold claim, said they were going to have a 45-game winner on the dot. That is not going to happen. Let's see. A couple other ones. Sean, you and I talked about canceling college sports. And I said football altogether was going to move to a minor league, but these are long-term. But I did want to give an update. Minnesota has now canceled men's gymnastics, tennis, and track and field.
So, did we already cover the national championship that's going to happen, or no? Are we going to wait till that actually happens before we say I agree over that?
Yeah, we'll save that one. Sean, you said the Big Ten wouldn't play. You were right. You were wrong. So Chris and I both thought they would play. You were the one who said no on that. All right, so Sean,
I called that they would cancel the season before they canceled the season, but they uncanceled.
Yeah, exactly.
No points for that.
All right, so and last week in the Supreme Court, we were talking about let's prognosticate the Supreme Court justice nominee that supposedly is coming out either Friday or Saturday. I am sure that'll be a hot topic of debate at the first debate. So I said on Monday with Sean, the Cuban woman out of Florida, Barbara Lagoa. Yeah, that was my prognostication. And I came out, that was my early hot take. And then Trump met with Amy Coney Barrett, who's so look up the betting odds though, Sean.
Put them up right now.
Because, I think a lot of people like looking at polls. I think betting odds are a far better indicator of what's actually going to happen in the world. So, Chris, who do you think it's going to be?
I said Barrett last time, and that's the safe pick, and I'm still sticking with it.
Here's my hot take. I think Trump is doing all the stuff with her so that the left starts attacking her, and then he's going to pull out Barbara Lagoa. And what can they say about her? I mean, they can't touch her.
Oh, we said that about Sarah Palin, but they touched her. And all.
This is
Lagoa is the heavy favorite. Or I'm sorry, Barrett is the heavy favorite. Barrett is at 81 cents on the dollar. Lagoa is at 19 cents on the dollar. Then you got Allison Rushing, 3 cents. Bridget Bade, Joan Larson, and Merrick Garland is John Hopkins.
They're both great picks, by the way. Based on the research I've done, they both, I think they're both very good picks.
All right. So last bit of prognostication, straight up. Thursday night NFL game, tonight's game. Is tonight Thursday? Yeah. Jags, Dolphins.
Jags.
Got to ride the Minshew train. Like he's doing too good. He's too hot.
Wait. They're 1-1. I don't know how to do.
He's hot, dude. Yeah, I'm going Jags.
All right, so we all got the Jags straight up. All right, so let's go to serious or satire. Serious or satire. I will let you start, Chris. I got a couple. We'll see if they're any good.
You'll know why Odell Beckham was on the brain. So he's been accused of being in favor of I don't know how to say poop nice, but being pooped on. He came out with a statement, not a great one, but in defending himself, he said, "Look, I try different stuff, and sometimes stuff comes out, and I'm just saying, I finish, but I don't like getting pooped on."
This is serious?
Serious.
Satire.
Oh.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, next. Seattle hired a convicted pimp at $150,000 a year to advise on alternatives to police.
This is serious, and I think it's awesome. It's just another sign of the apocalypse. A convicted pimp is now the head of their street or whatever, and they're paying him all $150,000 a year. You can't make that up.
I'm in the wrong profession, apparently. So, gosh, who knew there was such upward mobility for pimping? I had no idea. They didn't teach me that in college. Maybe a liberal arts degree is a good degree.
Isn't that what Trump did with his? Didn't he have the Miss Universe pageant before?
Touche. But that was tasteful pimping. Okay. Idaho teacher and his wife were arrested for singing church hymns with another group of 100 in public in Idaho.
Satire.
Sean?
Serious.
They were arrested in defiance of their mask order. They were arrested for singing church hymns. Okay. So there's a bit of controversy about a dad in Florida who lives next to a golf course.
Serious.
He's been kind of
It's Florida. Yeah, serious.
Start over.
Whenever a golf ball gets hit onto his property, he lays next to it and pretends like he's unconscious. It freaks out everybody who finds their golf ball.
Serious.
That's serious. It's awesome. In Texas, so a lower court ruled in favor of an Austin resident who had I don't want to say machine gun, but had gun turrets on his lawn to protect against protesters. And the mitigating factor was they deemed that because there's human intervention to pull the trigger, he still has to he can do it remotely, but because he still has to humanly intervene to pull the trigger, that it's not an automatic weapon. So he's allowed to have these turrets on his lawn.
Satire.
Serious.
Satire.
Hey, by the way, we had a new segment that is you'll probably believe what happened in Florida this week.
Yeah, right. All right. So I got two of them. All right. Let's see. Los Angeles mayor unveils push to end homelessness by sending around some pretty reasonable Zillow listings.
Satire. Come on.
Satire.
Yeah, it is satire.
No, they would just give the listings to them and steal it from tax dollars. That's great. That's easy,
All right. My last one. Tiger King subject Jeff Lowe demanding a cut of Joe Exotic's successful clothing line.
Oh, dang. I'm going to go serious.
Serious.
Sean? It is serious.
Every time you bring up Joe Exotic, I know it's serious. I believe that you secretly have social media accounts, and the only person you follow or are friends with on them is Joe Exotic.
Yeah. The best part about it is everything that goes with the Tiger King and people in Florida is crazy, and it's totally true.
It's always true.
Totally true.
We got a couple.
Right.
Fantasy football owner drafts Christian McCaffrey and trades for Saquon Barkley before last week's game and loses both players. Serious or satire?
We know that's serious, Sean. And you have my permission to cry now.
It's hard to believe, though. I mean, you could have gone satire. That's really hard to believe.
You're terrible at fantasy football. It's not that hard to believe.
All right, let's move to our top five. Top five things we should be protesting for. So as many of you know, protests have erupted. And when I say erupted, 120 days ago, they started and haven't stopped in the city.
Mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful. Those burning buildings, that was an accident. All right. So, but I think there are some really important things we should be protesting for that we haven't been. So I will start with Sean. You go and we'll do snake draft. Sean, Taylor, Chris, and then back through.
Number 5, defund the government.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There's our libertarian. I'm kind of okay with that. All right. My number 5, Taco Bell's menu to revert to 2016. You guys might not be Taco Bell fans. I'm appalled. They have gotten rid of every good thing. That was like my favorite pizza. They got rid of Mexican. They got rid of the double-decker taco. What? It's a soft taco. It's a hard taco with a soft taco shell and beans in between them. They have all the
a cheesy gordita crunch.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So that I think would actually, you want to talk about a 1,000,000-man march? You could get 1,000,000 people to march for that.
I don't know, man. I got a fast food number 5 that tops that. That's McDonald's is getting rid of their all-day breakfast menu.
What?
That was major legislation we passed finally to get a sausage McMuffin with egg past 10:30 a.m. When you're hungover, that's the only cure. But who's getting up before 10:30 to get that? This is madness.
I can't believe you and I both have fast food menus on this. All right, Chris, you're number 4.
Wait, hold on. I have to interject my number 4. It was legalized marijuana. That fits very nicely in the fast food category.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
This is true. All right, Chris, you're 4.
Open the restaurants, bro. I'm starving. Come on, man.
I need a Mexican pizza.
Can I protest on Zoom? I don't really want to get off the couch, but I want the food. So number 4 would be there are not nearly enough Orthodox Jews in the NBA, and we should be pissed.
That's awesome. All right. My number 4, I think we have got to band together and protest to make sure that Joe Rogan does host the debates.
Oh, yeah. Amen.
Yeah. All right, Sean, you're number 4. Oh, you already did legalize marijuana for your number 4. So give me your number 3.
My number 3 is we should protest to end protests.
Yeah. We should. I would actually get behind that.
Yeah, forget the Constitution. Yeah, who cares?
All right. Number 3. This is an idea I think would be a lot of fun, and I think would get great ratings, and we can make tons of money off of it. I think we should bring back the show The Apprentice and do it in the cabinet.
Ooh, yeah.
It's kind of already happened, right?
But they all leave.
We don't get to see it behind the iron curtain, Okay.
Steve Bannon, you're fired.
My number 3 is I think we can all agree that we should be protesting the Karens of the world. We hate the Karens of the world. Yeah. My number 2, and this one seriously, this is personal to me because I'd be protesting my own wife here. But the people that go to any ice cream store, especially the Froyos, and ask for more than 8 samples before deciding on a very, very tiny scoop of one thing, it's so embarrassing and humiliating. This person's watching their profits go down the drain. Can I have a spoon to sample this? Can I also sample this? Everybody's waiting behind you. Sample. They don't make any money. I feel like I got to buy just 3 times the size of ice cream, and I don't want to eat all that. I'm like, yeah, give me the boba, sure. Give me the sprinkles. I just feel terrible.
If we could dissect the fact that you just tried to make a claim that you're fat, and you're only fat because you're trying to make sure to make up for your wife having extra samples.
That's how much I love her.
And by the way, would it be bad that I took my 5 kids, my wife and I, we went into a fudge store. We all got samples of fudge and then we left without buying
God, I hate you. I just hate you so much.
But we left because one of my kids started saying they had to take a dump.
Sounds like somebody's a fudge store socialist to me. Gimme. I don't want to pay.
All right, number 2. My number 2. Kids in school. That's a serious one. Get them back. Sean, you're number 2.
Number 2. I think this is a little bit hypocritical, I guess, but cancel culture.
Okay. All right.
Like protest and protests.
It's astute.
Yeah. They're similar. All
right. And your number 1.
My number 1, Pass. I don't like protests. I just think we should just get along, and I don't want to fight about things.
Why? Have you noticed how he literally ruins every
I've
single?
opened my gun safe. It's turned over my face. And I'm ready.
My number one
So
is let's
close.
get along, and that's not protest.
Just add a shitty honorable mention, Sean, and I'll pull the trigger. Just do it. Good honorable mention. I'll pull it.
I should have 5 number ones. Hold on.
All right.
That's my
Taylor.
number one.
All right, my number one. Give me back my sports. Social justice. Get out of sports.
Okay, my number one, and we talked a bit about this last week, Taylor, which is the trade of pizza and beer to move your entire 2,400 square foot home. I'm vehemently protesting. Okay, take a dump on my face, Odell Beckham style, but stop offering me pizza and beer like that's fair compensation for moving your entire place.
Hey, I'm moving October 11th. I don't know if you want to come help out, but I will get you barbecue.
Better not be Papa John's, at least. Give me something specialty.
Chicago pizza.
Okay, now we're talking.
Real deep dish.
That's thick.
All right. Again, please do me a favor. Share this, subscribe, follow, whatever. But again, share this, get this out there. We're actually working on hiring someone to bring in-house because we are growing so quickly to help get this out there, to help share on our social media. Please do us the favor, continue to help us grow, help us reach our goal for September. All right, goodbye.